Hi, this is Jeremy Dunham, Editor-in-Chief of IGN PS2, and I'm actually really excited to talk to you today about Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening, which is one of the best action games to come along on the PlayStation 2 for a really, really long time. It's definitely up there with other big high-profile games like Grand Theft Auto, Ratchet and Clank, Maximo, all those type of great classic titles that really remind you why you bought a PlayStation 2 in the first place. The reason that I like Devil May Cry 3 so much is because it kind of takes everything that made the first game so great and expands on it in a way that the second one failed pretty miserably at. Number one is that the difficulty level has been ramped way up. In fact, our normal is the Japanese hard mode, which is already really difficult to begin with. And when I say it's hard, I mean it. It's definitely one of the most difficult games I've played in a really long time. And as a guy who grew up playing 8-bit Nintendo games and 16-bit Super NES games, I really like games that are difficult that challenge me, because back then, almost every game you bought was difficult, as opposed to kind of the now more mainstream approach to making everything seem a little bit more accessible. Devil May Cry 3 is definitely up there with games like Maximo, Ninja Gaiden, especially even with the Hurricane pack attached, and final bosses on King of Fighters, for instance. The reason that Devil May Cry 3 is so difficult is because the AI reacts to you so effectively. Basically, it picks up on the way you play the game, so if you spend most of your time trying to use your guns to shoot them, they're going to realize this and start to change their tactics to have an answer to that. So let's say, for instance, you're taking on some of the early guys that like to just kind of pop in and out. They're going to start popping in behind you instead of front of you and maybe attack in a pincher formation or flank you. Do all types of different little maneuvers that force you to have to use your other weapons, your melee weapons like your sword, so that you aren't just stuck doing one type of move over and over again. And this, of course, carries over into the style system, which is your combo meter, which then gets you more power and upgrades as time goes on. It's a really smart system, and it basically pushes the envelope in terms of what your fingers can do, because not only does it challenge your reflexes, it challenges how well that you can judge a situation. It's really good. These type of tactics tie into the boss fights, which are definitely the best I've seen since Metal Gear Solid 3, and they're definitely on the same level in terms of complexity, difficulty, and the all-around coolness factor. Not only are they like the typical enemies that have maybe one or two different ways to attack, but they have sometimes as many as 3 or 4. On top of that, they'll read your actions and maneuvers just like a regular enemy would. So if you are spending most of your time on the outskirts blasting him with ebony and ivory, he's going to pick up on it, and he's going to come after you with some all-new crazy attack that does a lot of damage and really hurts you. One of my favorite bosses in particular is Cerberus. He's one of the first guys that you fight that's bigger than life, and he's in the 3rd stage at the very base of the Tower of Teminagru. And when you face him, he seems simple enough. Basically, you just hang around and blast him with your gun and chip the ice off his legs so that you can get to his fleshy underparts. But as the match wears on, you start to realize that he knows what you're trying to do, and to compensate, he'll start moving around the stage where he's chained. He'll start regrowing ice over certain parts of his body, and he'll start charging at you and bringing icicles down from the top of the ceiling in all types of different ways. So you're constantly having to think while fighting him, and it's kind of reminiscent of the old 16-bit shooter games in a way, where the bosses would have so many forms of attack that you never quite knew what to do until you really understood what kind of pattern or what kind of reactionary AI it might have. And the same type of philosophy ties in here, and it works really well. It makes all the boss fights fun, whether it's Cerberus on up. I won't name any names, don't want to have any spoilers. What makes the boss fights so fun is the fact that the gameplay system is so wide and varied, and it's really customizable. Basically, this ties into Capcom wanting to say, okay, we know what Dante has done in the past, we know what he's capable of. What if we allow players to play to their own strengths and customize Dante the way they want him to be? So what they've done is they've implemented a special style system that lets you select from 6 different fighting types, 2 of which are hidden, you'll get those later. And you can basically play to your strengths. So if you are a guy who likes to use your sword, you can go ahead and choose the Sword Master technique. If you prefer to blast everything, you can choose the Gunslinger. There's defensive categories, offensive categories. You can stop time with one of your special abilities. There's all these different factors that kind of tie into your style. Luckily, a lot of your upgraded powers can carry over to some of your other styles. So let's say that you power up one of your guns with your collection of red orbs, but you decide to be a sword master. Your gun's still going to be pretty powerful. You're not going to have a lot of those special abilities that you would have as a gunslinger, which is personally my favorite. I think it's the most fun to use. but you're still going to have a lot of that strength and ability that you would have. So you can really build and shape your own Dante and do the types of things you want to do with him. And when I say that you can do whatever you want to do, I mean it, because Dante can practically do whatever you want him to. He can run up walls, do flips, he can take his guns and do spinning shots coming up from the air. He can use a shotgun like a pair of nunchucks and just basically shoot everything around him as he flips it behind his back and in front of him again. And when you couple this with a wide range of weapons, and there are a lot, believe me, there's shotguns and railguns and nunchuck weapons, swords, all types of other things that are kind of defy classification. I don't really want to give away too much, but there's just so much you can do here that the gameplay system is really, really addictive and difficult and challenging. And when you tie that in together with the smart bosses and these smart enemies, you've got all the ingredients you need for a really strong action game. Luckily, Devil May Cry 3 does a lot in between these action moments that kind of keeps you tied to the story. This actually takes place quite a while before the beginning of Devil May Cry 1 and tells you the story of how Dante and Virgil became separated in the first place and why they're at odds and why they don't really get along. There's a couple of really important supporting characters in there too, like Arkham and Lady, but telling you anything more than that would really kind of give away too much. Needless to say, the story is a lot better than it was in the previous two games. It's a lot more fleshed out. There's cutscenes before, during, and after each stage, and it's just an all-around better presentation when it comes to the series. And it's up there with Capcom's similar series, Onimusha, in terms of moving the story along, where you're getting a lot of information, you care about the characters, but it's not bogging anything down. And it actually throws in a couple of surprises. It's not terribly unpredictable, but every now and then you'll see something that'll really catch you by surprise, and it'll be like, oh, okay, so that's why. I also can't forget to mention how beautiful the game looks, even though it doesn't use any more polygons than the first game, or the second game for that matter. The brand new graphics engine has been reworked from the ground up, so the use of textures and lighting is a lot better than it was before. It runs at a steady 60 frames per second, looks terrific, the animations are great, and there's a lot of subtle facial animations that they've put in there too, so if a character is thinking something, you can actually kind of tell what he's thinking thanks to the great job they've done with animating their faces. This great design is actually supported really heavily by a superb direction. The camera angles used for most of the stages are probably the best that they've been in the series. A lot less vague and more overt, definitely more useful. And the fact that you can now move the camera with the right analog stick is a big plus too. If there is one problem that I do have to point out with Devil May Cry 3, it is the camera. It will occasionally cause problems, even though you can do some quick look stuff and you can move it around manually. A couple of the areas that you go to that are more enclosed or very specific in the way that they're designed are difficult to sometimes see what's coming off screen unless you position yourself just right. It's nowhere near as bad as it was in Devil May Cry 2, but that problem is still there, and it will occasionally become an issue. But honestly, that was my only real issue with Devil May Cry 3, was that small camera problem. For the most part, though, it didn't really pose much of an issue for me the entire way through, and I had a great time through all 20 levels and 12 hidden ones that I could uncover. It has just about everything you could want in an action game. It has a great story, great characters, a great presentation. The graphics are phenomenal. I love the soundtrack, by the way. It's super hardcore. And there's just a ton of stuff you can do. So even after you've gone and beaten it, consider yourself lucky if you can. You can come back and do so much more. There's a hidden gallery, hidden outfits, and all types of other little things that you can unlock that'll keep you coming back time and time and time again. This is definitely no weekend rental. You can spend a lot of time with it, and I know that if you're anything like me, you're going to want to play it for many years to come.